How's it everyone, this is Lolcohol, and in today's video I'll be sharing a selection of League starter builds that I feel will be top choices for 3.19 Lake of Kalandra. The builds in this list are all thoroughly tested, beginner friendly, and should help you to have a really smooth League start. I've received the blessing from each of these creators to share these and have included links to each of the videos associated with the builds. So if any of these builds look good to you, please go check the description for the link to the original video and show the creators some support. Starting off, this is going to be Subtractem's Bane Chaos.Occultist. If you're a brand new player, Subtractem's Bane Occultist is easily the best choice for a League starter in 3.19. Subtractem's been developing this build for well over a year across 5 different patches, and the end result speaks for itself. Although this build won't be able to delete bosses in 3 seconds or explode an entire screen of monsters, it's very well balanced, it's easy to follow, it's tanky, it's flexible, and it's fully capable of doing all of the endgame content on a reasonable budget. If you play this build, especially as a new player, you're going to learn a lot about the mechanics of the game, and Subtractem has documented this build very thoroughly. So on his channel, there's videos with tips and guides and crafting that are all related to it. I can't recommend Subtractem or this build more highly. Go check it out, link in description. Now the next build, this is going to be my pick for the best League starter bosser. That's going to be PathofMath's Eye of Winter Miner. This thing looks to be the spiritual successor to the recently nerfed to the ground seismic trap. This build is capable of clearing all content in the game, and his guide includes both a mapping setup, which clears very smoothly and comfortably. It's not the fastest mapper, but it's fast enough. But where it really shines is the single target, and he's included a bossing setup that should help you to destroy bosses probably faster than any other League starter build that I've seen. So if you are a fan of Seismic Trap and you're looking for a well-rounded build that can run all map mods with high single target damage, then this might be the perfect League starter for you. The video's linked in the description, along with a video where PathofMatth flexes on a toxic commenter by killing Maven on garbage gear without using any flasks. Complete Giga Chad move that kind of sold me on this build. Next up on the list is Pohx's Righteous Fire Inquisitor. This is probably one of the most well-tested builds of all time, and it includes every type of resource you could imagine to help you along the way. Pohx's RF guide not only includes tons of videos with a foolproof POB, but the build even has its own dedicated website that includes tips, a written guide, step-by-step crafting sections, and an FAQ section. This build, it doesn't have a massive damage curve compared to many others, and with the 25% nerf to fire traps damage, the single target's going to feel modest initially, but Pohx has made some adjustments to the 3.19 tree to compensate. He's also paid a ton of attention to defenses, so if you're a softcore player who's sick of playing squishy softcore builds that die constantly, you could learn a lot about survivability by playing this build instead. The endgame variant of the build also maps incredibly smoothly, takes down bosses safely, so if you're looking for a well-rounded, very tanky build that can scale deep into the endgame, Pohx's RF is a no-brainer. Now next on the list, this is a build I'd be playing if I hadn't been baited into League starting Reap. This is going to be Chronic Painless's BV Elementalist. Now I know what you're thinking, BV is often seen as a bit of a risky League starter, and it might be, but Chronic has quite possibly one of the most thorough hand-holding POBs and guides that I've ever seen. The note section is extensive, and every step of your progression is laid out in detail, so you'll always know how to make the next improvement on the build. This might not be the right build if you're brand new to PoE, but if you're looking to break away from the meta, this is a very honest guide that has been incredibly well tested across many patches. The only nerf to Cold BV that this build faced with 3.19 was to that of Brittle, but it's not enough to do anything too major to the build's damage. So with decent clear and good single target, this build starts off well, but one of the shining points of it is that it can scale to the most ludicrous numbers, and you'll be able to, if you invest enough into it, do all content in the game very, very comfortably. And last but not least, I know you're all going to be looking for a Trickster build, but without anyone having played the new Trickster, I can't confidently point you toward a build that has been tested as well as the rest of the builds in this video. Of course, no one has tested the new Trickster in-game, but if you are going to play a Trickster build, Palsteron has been working on a Caustic Arrow Ballista Trickster. Palsteron's a super skilled and talented build maker, and if you've had any experience with his content in the past, you'll know that it's probably going to be a good one. Just let me say it one more time though to be clear, without full in-game testing, which is literally impossible until 3.19 starts, there's going to be a slight element of risk with league starting any Trickster build. But if I were to trust anyone with a Trickster league starter, I would trust Palsteron. I'm going to give you one bonus build. I could not end this list without a little bit of self-promotion. Last league, I started off with a Toxic Rain Raider specifically geared toward running Infinite Heist, which I have a guide for linked in the description. This build was developed by Guitaraholic based on a strategy initially formed by Firegrass, and after following this strategy last league, I was very happy with the results and actually quite enjoyed heisting for the first few days of the league to farm up my Headhunter. Now, there is some speculation that Heist has been stealth nerfed. That might just be anecdotal, but a lot of folks who have league started Heist in the past have reported walking away with less currency after spending their first few days of the league down in the Rogue Harbor. This might be due to fewer Heist bases having value due to the meta shifting, but some people also feel that the drop rates and spawn rates of high value gems and replica uniques have been kind of adjusted behind closed doors. But one plus of this is that once you're done farming Heist, you'll have a Raider and a bunch of currency, and you'll be able to respec into something that is anything but Toxic Rain. So if you're a new player that's looking for both a league starter and a league start strategy, the video I've included in the description should help you along the way. And I've done it myself. I can confirm it's pretty good. That's going to be it for this video. Please remember to check the description for links to each of the builds I shared in today's video, and go show some support to each of those creators. Let me know in the comments what you plan on league starting, and I'll see you on Friday for Lake of Kalandra. Please follow me on Twitch. I'll be streaming a bunch. Okay, bye.